The Alpha Sessions.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Alpha Sessions once again with Lucy Wroe and today Rachel Croft.
Hello.
Welcome to the studio.
It's great to be here.
It's great to have you here. We've had some great performances from you, which we're looking forward to hearing. We've got a lot to talk about. But first of all, for anyone who doesn't know you yet, introduce yourself. Tell all our listeners and our viewers who you are and where you're from.
All right. Hi, I'm Rachel Croft. Originally, I'm from Nottingham, and I've spent the last 10 years of my life being a full-time independent musician, predominantly of alt rock music. Moved to London about 2 years ago. And so really sort of exploring my journey into music 10 years on.
Exciting. Yeah, your sound is, I feel it's kind of eclectic when I listen back before meeting you even, and then hearing you today play acoustically as well. So now it's interesting that I've heard these versions and the recorded versions.
They are quite different.
They feel quite different. But your influences, I feel that we should dive into those straight away because I wrote a few names down and all of them are quite different. But the first name that came to mind was Jeff Buckley.
Oh, thanks.
Because I'm a big fan of Jeff.
Yes.
And I immediately picked up on that. I don't know.
I like you already.
Is he? Well, great. We're going to have a good time today. Is he? Would you name that as an influence?
I would say, Jeff, certainly. I remember I have the biggest compliment ever from, there's a band called the Dunwells, and they told me that when I picked up my Telecaster and played that, I reminded them. And you're the second person ever to say that. So I'm just, it's definitely going on the bio now.
Oh, yeah, it deserves to be on there.
But I think a lot of my eclectic nature as a writer comes from trying to be entertaining in bars and pubs when I was starting out and as a busker. And I remember people always being like, don't be boring, make it not different, make it different. And so I suppose it's become eclectic because of that, and there are lots of influences. Like folk was where I started because when I was busking at the start, that's what I did a lot of on the streets of York because it was really well received and it's a girl with a guitar, easy to do. And then as the pandemic hit and that, I started to think, I love bands like Kalea and Wolf Alice and I want to do big rock songs because why not? And I also did loads of jazz when I was in York too. So then I've got that. And some musical theatre stuff when I was a kid. So there's a lot of things going in there. Lots of things stirring away.
In the pot. Yeah, well, it's a good thing. I think it comes out as something quite unique.
Yeah, cute.
So straight up, your latest single, Failure?
Yeah.
Failure? Is that exact kind of feeling. It's quite big, but it feels like there's a lot that's gone into that.
Oh, yeah.
And you can hear all these influences coming in, but tell me more about Failure, just as a song for you, like when it was born and how it was written.
Sure. It came about after about 8 months of radio silence from my songwriting brain. And as when you're doing this full time, you feel sometimes like you're writing songs because you ought to write them, and you write songs that you feel people might want to hear as opposed to what comes out naturally. And the original reason I was a songwriter was because I was writing things as catharsis, and I tried my best to get back to that with this song, and I picked up a guitar for the first time in 8 months, I guess, as a songwriter, and that came out because it was what I really needed to say, because this July was my 10-year anniversary as a musician.
Oh, wow.
And I almost couldn't believe that I'd got that far, to be completely honest, because cyclically I've realised that it never gets easier and you're consistently doubting yourself and feeling like a failure. And it was really telling when I went back to York, and these people who'd seen me at the start of my career and my little busking setup, they were like, you're doing so well. You're doing so well. And I remember being like, I'm crumbling inside quite a lot of the time. And I wanted to write about that interesting juxtaposition, if you like.
Yeah, that does come across, and also it's definitely worth mentioning, we talked about it a little bit a minute ago, is the video that goes along with this, because I came across this without realising what I was walking into, and then saw the post about this is the hardest thing I've ever done, like the most work I've put into something like this, and then watched it back again and thought like, okay, now I understand it better, because if you know the context of it. So explain a bit about how this video was created.
Sure. So being an indie artist, you don't have a lot of money, and you have to be inventive, as you know, I'm sure. So I thought, I really want to do a music video for this song. It was the most rocky song that I'd got as well, which is something I'd really wanted and strived for, and I felt a resistance from that based on my folkier roots all the time in York particularly, not so much here. So I had this idea that I wanted to give failure a form, and I was like, well, how do you do that? Because I haven't got the budget for a really big music video. I'm not going to have a CGI artist, but something that I've always incorporated into my music is my art, and I like to draw. So I do my own merch, I do my own designs for all sorts of stuff. And I thought, well, how hard can it be? I'm going to have a go at making an animation. So I'd seen on TikTok earlier that year a thing called mixed media animation, and I thought it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. It's where you basically you illustrate, you paint, you print over real film, and you can edit it how you want, and you can make it do all sorts of stuff. The problem is it's super time consuming. I don't really like digital stuff, so I was like, okay, I'm going to do this animation by hand because it's the least intimidating for me. Never mind that it took me 3 months solid to do. It's 2,466 frames of hand animated stuff over a thing that I edited. So my friend Michelle Fredericks, amazing photographer, I was like, Michelle, can you please film this? We filmed it in an afternoon. I took it home, edited it. We didn't have any storyboards. It was only my weird brain being like, let's have me run down those stairs and I'll have it crawl down the stairs. And yeah, so it kind of just came about from a spontaneous trip down, and I was wearing the clothes that you see in the video, which ended up working really well. And I just thought, I want to be in a sci-fi. So I did, and I thought, let's make this monster that shapeshifts.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, I want it to get more and more, tangible and detailed as it gets towards me. I didn't want it to just be the black dog, because my failure isn't just what the black dog normally means, depression and things, but I wanted it to just feel like this wave of like just awfulness coming towards me. So yeah, and I thought I may not pull it off, but I did it in sections, and I'm so glad that I did it, because I think it shows how insanely determined I am to make these things. And the budget was tiny, but it proves that you can do stuff if you're mad enough to try.
Yeah.
Bright side, now it feels so much taller. I used to think my world was big, but it's gotten so much smaller. Sitting at the wheel, but I can set it in motion. Think I took a wrong turn, I feel sick of that notion. If worry were the rain, then I would drown in an open ocean. Everyone's proud of you back home. I'm on the knife edge of it all. Everyone's proud, but do they know
Alpha Sessions.
This whole project feels like a kind of catharsis in a way, like the actual sentiment of the song and the lyrics, the way it sounds as well. There's a lot of anger sort of pouring out
Angst.
of it with the video. Yeah, it's a big wave of angst.
Yeah.
But do you feel like since that happened, even though it's very recent, you feel better for it? Or do you feel like it's just like, it's all still in there, but now everyone else knows it's in there too?
Yeah, I wanted people to know about it, but I also think that we are all feeling similar things as artists all the time, and I want people to feel less alone. That's why a lot of my TikToks are about being quite real, about how it really is to be a musician, because I don't want it to be that superficial, like, oh, look at me doing this marvellous stuff, because I constantly feel like I'm failing all the time, and I'm 10 years in full time. Like, I shouldn't be feeling that, but I absolutely do. Yeah, and so I wanted it to be just for people to sort of know that they're not alone in it, really. But just, I mean, one day after that, I wrote my song called A Mind Made of Sky, which is a healing song about it'll be better. Like, literally two, like buses. Nothing for 8 months, and then 2 songs in 2 days was like poof, and that'll come out later in the year. But that's a lot more of an uplifting song about how this too shall pass. That's one of the main refrains.
Yeah. Do you often find yourself writing with this sentiment in mind? Like, is this a very common theme for you, or do things change? I suppose they change depending on where you are at the time in your life and what's going on.
I'm not really good at writing relationship songs. I write about mainly this sort of mindset. Kind of mental health is a big theme on Mind Made of Sky, which is this EP I'm doing. I've only written one relationship song in the last several years, and it was about something that ended 5 years ago, because I'm toxic that way. But yeah, it's usually only about widescreen, big sort of life choice things. Hurricane and Weaver Bird, both about life's journey, for example. And then the other subject that I like, but I've not done a lot of recently, is about people I don't like.
Oh, interesting.
Read What You Sow. That's a good one, if you're wondering what you mean, what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you played two of your older-ish ones, not old, but Roots. Yeah. You played Roots as well.
Played Roots and Time Waits for No Man, both on the EP Read What You Sow.
Yeah, that's what reminded me. I thought that's where the title was from. But tell me more about Roots and what the sentiment behind that one is, and how
that started in about 2017 or so, because there was this really nice music shop in York, which now closed down, which is really sad, called Red Cow, and I went in there and I was like, I want to try a different tuning. He said, what about Dad? And now I get so many guys that come on my TikTok and tell me, do you mean Dadgad? No, I don't, actually. I mean Dad. So it's basically this beautiful open tuning. You hear it, you will hear it, or have heard it, depending on when you play the songs. But it's this beautiful open strumming, and that was where that came from. That first couple of days trying that out, and then it took a long time for it to meld itself into this storm song. We call it the storm song, but it's like very condemning. But it's really good fun to play as like a rockier thing, and it was my first rockier song that started to change the course of my music. I think
that's actually the point I wrote down Jeff Buckley, because I think we were talking about this a minute ago, the vibrato that people have. I for some reason always pick up on it, and that's who it reminds me of. Their influences. But it was the Jeff vibrato that caught me. But also we were thinking Joni Mitchell.
Thank you.
In there, because I'm a massive Joni Mitchell fan, and I love talking about it, because there's so much about her to talk about that a lot of songwriters take influence from, but also open tunings. So, I mean, is that part of your influences as well with open tunings?
For sure.
And then when you discover the open tunings, do you just then it's like a whole door opens, a whole world is open to you for songwriting?
For sure. Like, I think I don't delve too much into open tunings different to Dad at the moment, because I wouldn't class myself as a guitarist, really. I kind of play guitar so I can sing. So I don't delve too much into it, because picking up a guitar in the first place is hard enough at the moment. But definitely Joni influenced me in terms of lyricism. A lot of my early stuff, I had an album that I did, like a folky collection of songs that had a lot of that in, but I've deleted it offline because I changed my genre. So I have a hidden album called Hours Awake from years ago that has a lot of Joni. The coolest thing I thought about Joni is, quite naively, I didn't focus too much on her lyrics before. I liked her, but then when I read the lyrics, like Carousel of Life. Carousel.
It's
like the painted ponies go up and down. That one, I couldn't believe how beautiful and heartbreaking some of the lyrics are. And Both Sides Now, I used to hear it a lot when I was growing up, but I never listened to the lyrics. And then when I did, I was like, this has a whole new depth of how exceptional she is. Yeah. Oh, I just love her so much.
There's a song called Cactus Tree. It's one of my favourite Joni songs. But it's, if you haven't heard Cactus Tree,
I haven't, and I'm going to be honest, I have not heard that, and I'm going to listen.
But yeah, playing with tunings like that, I feel like, for me, playing with a tuning, even if I play the same one every time, it immediately makes me want to write a lot of words. And does it do the same thing for you? Or like, where do words come from? Do you start with lyrics, or do you start with sitting down and playing a few chords or trying things out?
Usually it's the music that starts, and then I'll have a melody that then turns into words. I have a huge note on my phone of 1 million different lyrics. But do you ever find that you never actually look at them?
Yes.
I write them down at like 4 a.m. This is going to be gold dust. And then I never look at them ever again.
But they're probably all part of it, because everything's in there. It's like when you research something, you write it all down, you never look at it again, but it's just getting it in your brain by writing it down.
Completely. Yeah. Because I feel like if I don't grab it, then it will be lost.
Then it sort of trails away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for the other song you played for us, that one actually I like the lyrics of as well, but The Time Waits for No Man, I actually wrote that lyric down. Thank God I'm a woman. Because it's so clever. It's the same kind of feeling that Joni gives me when you hear lyrics that are very clever. Is that it sounds like the sort of song that you write that line down because it comes to you in when you're like 4 a.m. or something, and then you come back to it and the whole song is built around that sentence, that line. Yeah, but that's probably not true. That's just my fantasy version.
I would love to tell you that was what happened. for that one, it was a few years ago. I think it was in 2020, 21 when I wrote it, and I was listening to a lot of Lana Del Rey, which I think is where the production of the recorded versions come from. And I'd written a lot of dark songs about disliking people and being angry and condemning people, and then I was like, I always go through this cycle of, and everything will be fine. Same thing with failure and Am I Made of Sky? This I wrote about things are terrible, things are great, and that always seems to be a cycle that I have. I was just sat in my room thinking about how I'd changed and looking in the mirror and being like, is this who I really want to be, this angry person? Like, saw a stranger's face on the bathroom counter side was a reflection of myself. But it's a lot of different thoughts that all cram into one song. It's not about one person, one individual. The second verse is about someone I really don't like, so it really fit with the rest of the EP. For the verse 2, sometimes it's really nice and all you can do is write a song about somebody or add them.
Five in the morning, ain't no time to say goodbye. I said I loved you and you know that's not a lie. Misread the tears I shed, 'cause I cry all the time. And I saw a stranger's face on the bathroom counter side. I don't like the look she gave me, a ghost from another life. And though we have to grow, it makes me dead inside. So dead inside. And time waits for no man. Good thing I'm a woman. I don't fear the devil, 'cause I met him once or twice. And I got beat, and I'll be damned if that makes me shy. 'Cause I can save myself, forget forget you, Caroline. Yeah, forget you, Caroline. And time waits for no man. Good thing I'm a woman. I watched it play over again. You said we never could be friends. I watched it play time and again. The shield is falling from my hands. I watched it play over again. You said we never could be friends. I watched it play time and again. The shield is falling from my hands. Oh, ooh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah, yeah. And time waits for no man. Good thing I'm a woman.
The Alpha Sessions.
We haven't even touched on playing live yet. I know we play a lot live, but playing these kind of songs live, do you usually play with a band or?
I would love to play more with a band, but actually most of the time it's me on my own.
Yeah.
Because with the sort of ticket levels that I'm getting at the moment, it just makes more financial sense, you know, especially in new places or if I'm going abroad, like just sticking solo. But I'm trying to do more band stuff this year, so it's a completely different thing because it takes away your freedom of being like, I'm just going to add another chorus here, I'm just going to add another pause. But then it also gives such oomph to the songs, especially the rock songs, because I don't know about you, but I get constantly put in singer-songwriter, folky, gentle category, and I find that quite annoying because I'm not. And I think it's because I fought so hard to get away from folk, even though I don't even dislike folk. It's just because people resisted my change to rock. That I think I'm a stubborn person and get annoyed by the folk label now, singer-songwriter, because when you're a girl with a guitar and you've got your acoustic guitar out, people put you in that easy listening, gentle, whereas if anybody was to listen to my songs as like the new stuff, I would hope they would say rock. I had an interesting thought from my friend Mina, and she was like, maybe it's because you've got like a smoother female voice. Maybe people compartmentalise you because of that. And I was like, that's very annoying. So I'm just going to get more and more rock. That's why I wear black lipstick on stage and stuff. Because I'm like, stop calling me a singer-songwriter. It's annoying. I know I technically am, but I don't like it. Do you ever find that?
Yeah, because it's natural to sort of evolve through different genres. And if people, especially if they've heard you in the beginning and they know what kind of music you've done before, or they only hear one of your songs out of them, I don't know how many you've got, tens, then they will just assume. And it does feel like that's, no, I mean, thank you so much for your compliment, but yeah, absolutely.
Found that on TikTok when Time Waits for No Man did really well. It blew up in May, and so loads of people found me on there. It like quintupled my Spotify from one 15-second video. Is nuts, but it's quite a gentle song out of mine. It doesn't really reflect how I mostly am, especially on stage, like live. And so when they then listened to Pacify Me, for example, they were like, wow, what's that? That's cool. And a few people who've seen me on TikTok and then they come to the show, they go, I've got no idea your voice was that big, because I've used full when I'm on stage. On
the other hand, that's quite a good thing, because then people will they won't expect the power, and then it'll be even more powerful because when it hits them,
hopefully not affronting.
Well, maybe a little bit affronting.
I quite like that
because just a little bit. I did see that you played a gig at Camden Assembly and made a live CD out, which is something that I completely forgot people do or did. And literally, funnily enough, to mention Jeff again, I know he's had a lot of shout outs. I just recently bought a live Jeff gig, and it has the same, like, a picture of him with a guitar on the front and it like a live shot, and I found it in a charity shop, and it's just like one of my most treasured little CDs.
But it's amazing.
That's why people I think they're missing a trick a bit, because you've made this thing, or well, you played a gig and made it into a tangible piece of music that someone can buy.
Yeah, that's not available on Spotify.
But exactly, it's exclusive. It's like something very special, and one day that could be a very important,
hopefully,
thing.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's a bit of a lost art form? Or?
Definitely. I mean, you have to be innovative when you're making your entire living off of music, or even if you're not, if you're an independent, like how can you continue to create things for people and be innovative? And what easier way of getting an album than recording something that's already happening? So I rant on about this to other indie artists all the time, is like, get CDs, because people buy them. And even if you were to hire a space for a day, practice your songs. I've actually released probably about 4 live studio albums where I've sat for one day, half a day in a studio, and I've recorded either covers or original songs and then put them on a CD and sold them only on CDs, because people, if they, I don't know if you get it, but people are like, oh, it's on Spotify, so I'll just watch it, I'll just have it on there. It's like, okay, thanks for your 3p or 1p. I'm sure that will pay for my day in the studio. Thank you. It's not out of awfulness, it's about just maybe people thinking that it's the same, and it's not. Like, that's why a lot of the time I tend to hide it all on CDs and encourage people to buy the merch, because really that is a godsend. Like, it doubles your income at a gig. And if you haven't got if you're an independent artist and you're listening, what are you doing? Not having merch. Get merch. Thank you.
Get merch. Mic drop. Well, yes.
That is all.
But it is, it's an important thing that we were talking about it this morning as well, like making records, and it's sort of, everything's changed now, but in the industry, how do you find, because you've, like you said, it's your 10-year music anniversary, how have you managed to keep yourself motivated and keep finding ways to support yourself through the current industry, because it's a bit mad at the moment?
For sure. Like, evolving as things are evolving. I wish I'd have adopted TikTok sooner. For example, like I definitely shunned it for a while because I didn't understand it. I'm not super techie. That's why I don't produce my own songs as well, because the whole thing frightens me. Like, so I mean, when I started as a busker, there wasn't contactless payments, so everyone had change. So that really helped me. I don't know if it would be the same now with all the contact. I did busk in York, in London's big railway stations as part of the Network Rail thing. It just wasn't the same. Like with a tap fee, people don't trust it. It fails. So it's changed a lot. Like, but I've tried to adapt. But keeping, I think a big part of it is like almost proving to myself that I can make the music that I know that is inside of me. And I found that almost the torturous experience of not quite nailing what you have in your brain when you're recording stuff, that is enough to keep me going, because I'm like, I know that there's more, and I know that I can be better, and I know that I can grow. But yeah, like finding the joy in what you're doing, and also making sure that when you're sharing stuff, acknowledging and noticing when people say that song changed my day, that your music helps me. And I get those messages from time to time, and I don't underestimate the power of that at all. So I suppose sort of it's a mixture of challenging myself to keep going, because if I stop, or if I always thought to myself, if I get a part-time job, I know that this isn't necessarily the end of music, but for me it might be, because I have to continue, otherwise it's almost this pressure that I require. It's hard, but I need it to continue. I guess that's why I'm full-time.
Yeah, it's like setting yourself boundaries, but also there's a certain type of personality that's very good at, like, you have a lot of ambition, I think. I only met you today, but it just feels like you've got this goal and you push on towards it, and obviously that's from the outside, and that's what's interesting, that haven't known you long, but I'm immediately getting an impression. It's like, I'm just doing stuff,
gotta get it done, gotta do it,
gotta
get better.
But I imagine inside there's a lot of turmoil
for sure. Yeah,
but that kind of keeps you going as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you get waves of it, and it's about riding those waves, and I I said psychically for the song Failure, like I psychically feel like a failure all the time, and you can really take things to heart, say if something doesn't take off like you were expecting, and you just learn that things like that are to be expected, because if you hear from anybody who's been successful in the industry, they have had awful things that have not gone right. There's a really good podcast which I like called How to Fail with Elizabeth Day, and I really like that podcast because it's all these really successful people talking about things that they've failed at, because ultimately your failure leads to your successes and stuff. But yeah, I think it's almost like I imagine there's not a plan B for me, so I just keep going because I don't want to I'm allergic to stagnation. I hate things not happening. I really, really can't stand it. So yeah, that's another personality thing, I think. I can't be doing with sitting still or nothing happening. It really, really stresses me out. So I'm like, what can I do? Okay, well, I can do this weird music video with animation. Oh, well, what next? Well, I could make a zoetrope vinyl cover. Google that. It's great. It makes animation. Olivia Rodrigo's got one. It makes an animation on the top of a vinyl.
No, I see.
So I'm going to design one and then hopefully like get it funded by being like, hey TikTok, look at this vinyl, please.
You're ready for anything. I mean, it's working. It's
innovation.
Working for you. Yeah, innovation. That's the word of the day.
Innovation.
That's the word of the day.
You've got to find a way. Because if you haven't got the money, what do you have? Well, I've got my skills in art, so I've got to use that. But whatever the skill that you've got, that could maybe lift you out of. Yeah. You've got to use it.
I mean, I guess more important than all those things, then, self-confidence is believing that all the things you have.
Touch of delusion.
You actually. Yes, we don't talk about delusion enough. You know, everybody's like confidence, skill, a little bit of delusion.
For sure. Oh yeah.
And you'll get there.
People told me that I couldn't do what I did, and then I did it.
And you continue to.
Yeah, I mean, I had a huge chip on my shoulder, and that's a big part of it. Like, I think a lot of people are motivated by sort of defying things, and I definitely have that.
Yeah.
Like defying the fact that you don't have to be mega famous to live off music, which is something that people just don't know, especially people who aren't in music at all.
Absolutely.
They're like, okay, so I had this one person back when I was starting say, yeah, she's good and everything, but what makes her special? Like, why would she make it? There's millions of girls that can sing. And that stuck with me forever, of course, because I was like, okay, you don't think I'm good enough.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I'm going to show you. And I did.
And you did.
Yeah.
And you continue to show us.
But I want to show them more. I still feel like I'm not finished. Not finished yet.
The work is never done.
No.
And on that note, what have you got coming up for us that we can look forward to?
Well, I'm playing a full band show in London at the 229 on the 18th of October. I'm also up in York on the 5th of October with that same band. So I've got 2 big shows there. I'm going back to the Netherlands to do some shows because I play there quite a lot in November. And I'm releasing a song at the end of this month called This Was Never Love. I'm real speedy because I ran out of time. Failure took 3 months to make that video, so I ran out of time for summer, and I've got all these really summery songs. I'm like every 3 or 4 weeks now I'm gonna dump them on everybody and then talk about them afterwards because I feel like release strategies, like for me, I find it's better once they're out now, rather than being like 6 weeks build up for what now, because I haven't got a PR budget, so I'm not gonna anyway, ranting on. But new music, band shows. I've got a new t-shirt design as well. I'll show you later.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
But yeah, it's this cool like Viking meets Art Nouveau with My Made of Sky on it.
Sounds perfect.
With some raven's wings.
Oh, it just keeps getting better.
It's like Viking rock, goth, female energy.
Amazing. Well, while you show me that, tell everybody watching and listening how to find you on social media.
Oh yeah, do you know, you're much better at PR than me. I would have forgotten. So it's Rachel Croft Music usually, which is Rachel with an EL, Croft like Tomb Raider, and so it's Rachel Croft Music, all one word, on like Instagram and TikTok, and I've got a website. I'm the most famous Rachel Croft in the world. Did you know?
Hey,
so if you type in Rachel Croft on Google, all my stuff comes up.
Oh, you are.
How about that?
And soon...
Only took me 10 years. you
So
know.
look out for those Viking t-shirts and for those gigs. And for what else you got coming for us, because I feel like there's going to be a lot. So
Busy bee,
yes.
trying to be.
Anyway, Rachel Croft, thank you for coming on Alpha Sessions.
Thanks, Lucy.
Dark clouds rising. There's a storm on the horizon. Look out, here she comes. You can undo what you've done. You better run and hide. Tearing up these roots that you have grown, fearful of the seeds you have sown. Brother, you are on your own. Wade in the water, wash your sins away. Wade in the water, vow to change your ways. Wade in the water, it might drag you away. Hey. Tearing up these roots that you have grown, fearful of the seeds you have sown. Brother, you are on your own.